South.
Yeah, let's get to it, man. Let's get to the 49ers and the Ravens. What a game this was. This was old school, hard-nosed football. The Ravens have won 7 straight games. Rainy conditions, but it didn't matter. You don't think he can throw the ball in any conditions? He can. Mark Andrews, that's a 20-yard touchdown. Andrews had 3 catches, 50 yards in that TD. Now, how about this? In the red zone, what's Lamar going to do? He's going to keep it, of course.
Got D.
When you're that fast, you can do whatever you want. Bosa, everybody collapsing on Gus Edwards. Gus the Bus, attracting a lot of attention. And Lamar said, nah, I got this, fam. Untouched into the end zone. Harbaugh saying, yeah, good blocking. Speaking of blocking, look at George Kittle. Out there, bully ball, open up the hole. Raheem, the dream, and watch the dream shake at the end. Gets in the end zone. Mostert gets in for the 40-yard TD. Mostert had 19 rushes, 146 in a TD. Matt Breida was out, so he had to step up. It's 4th and 1 right now. Garoppolo dropping back, and that Ravens defense, nasty. The worm. Chris Wormley, he gets that big old mid up there, bats it down. They fail on the 4th down conversion.
They wouldn't touch the ball again.
They wouldn't touch it again, and here is one of the reasons why. 4th and 1, 4 minutes left. Lamar says, I got this. I'll pick a gap and dive in. 3rd and 1, Lamar says, you know what? I'll keep it right here, too. Mind you, that box was loaded. There was 10 dudes in there dedicated to stop Lamar. He still gets the 1st down. Tied at 17. Who's out there to kick it? A guy that has had 37 straight field goals in the 4th quarter. That's the longest active streak. Justin Tucker, just in time. That is nothing but net. The kick is good. Lamar feeling it. This was a big-time win and a big-time statement. And, Kyle, you're saying that's the GOAT
I
right
asked
there?
if he was doing goat horns. Most people seem to think it's a Texas Longhorns thing, and then there was a McConaughey tweet about it. I'm still unconvinced. I know what Hook'em Horns looks like. It's not that. I think he was doing goat horns.
All right, well, let's hear from the losing quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and his head coach, Kyle Shanahan.
We're going to face adversity at some time. I think guys responded well today. We need to make more plays in crucial situations, and that's what separates a lot of these games. Just a couple plays here and there.
I was real proud of the team. I thought they played extremely hard, all 3 phases. We definitely played against a real good team, but I was real happy with our guys and how they played. We had every chance to win that game. Came up a little bit short there at the end. Give credit to them. Hopefully we can earn an opportunity to maybe get a chance to play them some other time again.
Really a must-win game for both teams, but it certainly puts them in different position. Looking at the AFC here, we know the Patriots loss moves the Ravens into a #1 seed in the AFC. They have a head-to-head tiebreaker. Texans are the 3 seed over in the NFC. San Francisco's at the top. I can't believe that we get this game in Week 14 that we're going to get in New Orleans, Triggs.
Another one. And this is what the Niners schedule squared up for. Last week it was the Packers game of the week. Then it was the Ravens game of the week. And now they go from Baltimore to New Orleans. And I'll tell you what, we were loving the Niners less than a week ago, but look at this schedule here. In New Orleans, could be a loss. That puts you at 10-3. Falcons, okay, we'll say it's a win. That's 11-3. The Rams always play them tough, and then at Seattle. Guys, if Seattle beats the Vikings tonight, suddenly that division title is in flux. Suddenly that playoff picture gets a little bit different. If the Rams get hot, there are no moral victories in this thing. So the Niners, they're a tough out. And I would not be shocked if we see them in the Super Bowl. But that could have been a huge victory. Instead, they're still on the ropes. Now they got to go to New Orleans. They might lose again. And now it's like, okay, let's hang on tight here, guys, because we got to get through this thing. I thought the Niners played their butts off yesterday, and yet it wasn't enough. And now I think their season gets really, really choppy in these waters. Everyone comes out of that saying, well, the Niners played great. They played great, but they got the loss. And now they really need to find a way to get to that next gear because the Saints are coming. And the Saints did something on Thursday night where I think their defense had 9 sacks. Yeah. And Cam Jordan had 4 of them, and they were flying all over the field. If the Niners don't have that home field advantage, if they don't win the division, suddenly this season might just be another year.
That said, I was so impressed with the Niners in this loss. Beyond what they were able to do without Dee Ford, without Matt Breida, their leading rusher. Their rushing attack was great. They ran all over this team on the road in the rain. They're going to give the Saints hell this week. I cannot wait to see that game go down.
I'm with you, Kay. I feel better about the Niners I did 24 hours ago. We got to understand what Lamar's been doing to teams. Lamar hasn't even been playing in the 4th quarter of games because he's been blowing them out. To go across the country and play in the rain and to be 1 or 2 plays, I don't feel any worse. In fact, I feel better. I mean, they really couldn't pass the ball. I think they will be able to in a dry atmosphere. They played great, almost to a draw with the best team in football. Like, they're going to have a say in this thing, and I'm not as worried about them down the stretch. I really do.
What about this week, though, in New Orleans and Superdome? I mean, that's a tough stretch, and you're also on the road again.
Yeah.
So as much as we can say they played well, I'm very, very in favor of what the Niners have done this season. I'm just saying, if the Seahawks keep winning and they keep losing, suddenly you're a second wild card and, goodbye. Like, that's it. Like, that's how it gets. They had to win that game.
Yeah, they had to win it, but it was an impressive loss in the sense that I felt like I was watching a pay-per-view heavyweight bout. It was competitive, blow for blow, and it gets to round 12. And it's a split decision. Yeah. And you have to give it to somebody.
What it was. It was a split decision.
It was a split decision. So I can walk away saying, you know what? These guys could see each other again.
Baltimore won that game.
This could
they definitely won. A split decision is a win.
Yeah, split decision, and you pick one winner. But I feel like you still look at both of these squads saying they could do damage in the postseason. And yes, this could be the Super Bowl preview.
It's hard to argue, Schrags, that what we saw yesterday weren't the two best teams in football.
They're really good teams. No, they're really good teams, and yet New Orleans,
Seattle,
like, I know we love the Niners. It just does not get any easier. And if you're not at home in the playoffs and you don't win the division and you're not a home game in wild card round, you might be one and done. That's how good the NFC is. So,
but, I mean, how good the NFC is. Remember what they did to Green Bay like a week ago?
I know.
Just like I thought that Green Bay lost sticks on my tongue, like that Niners, what they did to them is huge. And then they go to Baltimore. Okay, they lost. They lost by 3 points.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty good. And I'm not worried about them down the stretch. I really am not.
Not that Kittle needs any love from this table, but what he does for that offense is unbelievable as far as the run game is concerned. You don't have your lead rusher. He made Mostert, who's averaging over 7 yards a carry. That's George Kittle. That's what you look at New England. And those highlights from last night, like, you miss Gronkowski to get this run game going week in, week out. And that's what Kittle does. It's not just awesome highlights and plays and big 61-yard catches like he did back in week 12. It's really making these holes huge for these running backs to do what they do. It's really impressive what Kittle does there. So we see you, buddy.
Yeah,
I don't know any cool wrestling terminology to give you.
Do a goat thing.
Ian Rappaport. We don't even know what this means. It might be something bad. Ian Rappaport's with us, of course, in New York. Let's set the stage for tonight's matchup. It's Vikings and Seahawks. What is going on with their tight end? And Adam Thielen, what's going on? What's going on with the Vikings wide receiver?
Yeah, let's talk about Adam Thielen, because this was a surprise that came yesterday kind of out of nowhere. The whole thought, Kay, was that Adam Thielen would get through the Vikings bye. Remember, he'd been battling this hamstring injury. He was going to come back, tried to come back, played just a couple plays, thought he might re-aggravate it, pulled himself out. Then they took the cautious route. He didn't play again. They said, all right, cool. After the bye for Monday Night Football, you'll be back. That is the direction it was trending. Everything was positive. He was out of practice, all good. Yesterday, he was ruled out. It was a surprise. It was not something the Vikings or Thielen anticipated. And from what I understand, it's not like there was any big setback. It's nothing, that he actually re-aggravated it worse. He is just not quite ready yet, and the Vikings are going to go play without him for today's game. We'll see if it extends beyond that, but tonight they know they're not going to have him. They got a couple receivers, actually 3 receivers on the practice squad. See if one of those guys ends up getting the call, but another game without the Vikings star. The only silver lining here is this is a team that seems destined to play in January, so there's now, still a good chance Thielen is ready, at least by then.
And I mentioned their tight end, Kyle Rudolph. He's been filling in for him really well, getting all the targets in the end zone, touchdown after touchdown. He will be a huge help to sort of figure things out without Thielen available here on Monday Night Football. Ian, thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a bit. More highlights ahead. Kyle, you love the Raiders. Then why did you eulogize them on our TV?